My wife's first assessment of the full-size Google Home was, it looks like an air freshener. We haven't bought any of the overpriced bases at $20 to $40 a pop. Even if you change out the color on the bottom, the most visible portion is still completely white. The Mini definitely improves on its predecessor by being much more subtle and able to blend into other items on a countertop, particularly because it isn't white. I got the charcoal version here, which I think is really super subtle, but even the chalk gray/white version that I don't have is gray across the more visible top of the unit. You can also swap out the power cable on the Mini to another micro USB cable, as I've done here with a cable from one of my Chromecast audios. The downside of the shorter, flatter Mini is that when glancing at it across the room, the position of the lights makes them a little harder to see. From this viewpoint, with the camera right now, there's no problem seeing them. Hey Google. Both of them are really easy to see. Cancel. If you're looking at it from an angle as you would across the room, it's still pretty easy to see the regular full-size home's lights without any trouble. Hey Google. Cancel. By comparison, if we set up the Mini here and you're looking at it from across the room and you're tripping it, you're not going to see those lights nearly as easily. Right at launch time, the ability to touch the very top of the Mini was disabled by Google because a few of the review units were triggering from phantom touches and thus recording all the time. My initial reaction was, oh, well, usually I just use the wake word to trigger it. The thing is, I didn't realize how often I used the ability to tap on the top of the home to play or pause or cancel an alarm until I started testing out the Mini. These actions now require an additional wake word and command, which is still quick, but doesn't feel quite fast enough when you're scrambling to answer the door or a phone call. The tap on the top of the device has been such a great way to interact, and it's usually faster than trying to get a hold of the pause button on my phone or my watch. While I don't think we'll ever see the tap and hold to wake feature return to the Mini, I'm hoping the option might come back to just the tap. It would give a lot of function back, not be an issue from a privacy standpoint as it doesn't activate the microphone, and would still allow people with a faulty touch top surface to RMA their devices if they noticed a problem. Here's hoping. The microphones on both devices seem to pick up my voice pretty well consistently. I've had a few situations where I've definitely been closer to and speaking in the direction of a full-size home, and the Minis picked me up instead. It's kind of frustrating when that happens though, because we've got a mix of devices in the house now, and it can lead to things being picked up on the wrong device. Google claims that the nearest speaker should always respond, but with the Mini it seems like that's a little bit out the window. I'm going to play some music here on each of the devices so that you can hopefully hear what the sound difference is like. First, the full-size Google Home, playing at 50%. Increasing the volume to 75%. And now we're going to connect to the Home Mini and do the same test. This is starting at 50%. Increasing to 75%. So it turns out cranking the Mini up to 100% on the USB adapter I was using actually caused it to shut down and reboot. I'm going to reset here with the actual adapter that shipped with the Mini. This just does give me a chance to show that the hole here to plug in the micro USB cable is really small. I tried a couple of other micro USB cables that have a little bit wider block part around the edge here, and they weren't able to fit in. So we'll plug this in. And we'll let it reboot here. I'll link back up to it here. So this is playing at 100%. Back down to 75%. As you can hear there, the Mini sounds nowhere near as good as the regular Home, especially when you crank up the volume. It can get what seems to be just as loud, but at high levels it starts to lose parts of the background when you're listening to music. One of my favorite things to do around the house is to play music synchronized on all the Homes and Chromecast audios, and the sound quality using the Mini instead of the full-sized Home was a dramatic drop here when I walked into the room with the Mini. While normally I just use my regular Home for music listening passing through the living room, using the Mini made me want to fire up a larger speaker system with a Chromecast audio. If you're going to listen to a lot of music on your Home, you'd be better served right now by a full-sized Home or a Chromecast audio attached to a better set of speakers in addition to the Mini. The silencing feature between the two devices is slightly different. On the full-sized Home, we have a mute button that, giving it a quick tap,
the mic is muted,
causes it to mute. And on the Mini, it's a switch instead of that. And switching this to the side,
the mic's off,
causes it to inform us that the mic is indeed off. Switching it back,
the mic's back on,
and giving this just a little tap.
the mic's back on.
I really do think, personally, that the full-sized Home is a little easier to trigger versus trying to figure out where the switch is on the back of the Mini. That might get better with time. I really only use it in the cases where I'm trying to put multiple Homes in the same room to film a video for something like this. So I've set both Homes here to be at 50% of their audio strength, and we're going to try and trigger them. We'll turn this off first.
The mic's off.
Hey Google, what's the weather like?
Currently in Wilmington it's 52 and clear. The forecast tonight is 50 and partly cloudy.
And now switching over to the Mini.
The mic's back on. The mic is muted.
Hey Google, what's the weather like?
Right now in Wilmington it's 52 and clear. The forecast tonight is 50 and partly cloudy.
So you can hear there that it does a really great job with voice playback, a little bit better than what we were hearing out of the musical playback. I've had 3 Google Homes since launch. For now I'm going to be using the Mini in the office or the bathroom, but it's really going to be more appropriate for situations where you're listening to podcasts or making requests of Google Assistant versus music playback. I'm sure that they're going to sell a ton of these things, but really with the regular deals that drop the full-size Home price to about $100, that's what I spent for each of mine about a year ago. I think the full-size Home serves as a far more versatile device simply because the speaker's better quality. If you don't care about having the whole house music, or you've got something set up already with Chromecast audios, then I think the Mini's a great way to get the Assistant into as many rooms as possible. Both of these will work as Bluetooth speakers if you have an app that doesn't support the CAS protocol. Unfortunately, there's no outbound Bluetooth the way that the Echo Dot works, which I think is really an oversight on the Mini at this stage of the game. It'd be really nice to be able to hook it up to a larger speaker for situations where you need a larger speaker. Right now, if I was purchasing another home speaker to put into a room where I plan to use it to listen to music, I'd definitely go with a full-sized home over the Mini. But if you're just trying to get the Assistant into as many rooms as possible, then the Mini's a really great option for that. The software experience between the two devices is going to be pretty darn identical. They both show up in the Google Home app in the same manner. Just with a different picture for each of the speakers. And they can be added to any groups that you want to create. So if we wanted to grab the two of these speakers, we can save. And just like that, we've created a new group with these two speakers. Other than listening to music, the main use of the homes in our house is to control the house. We've got a ton of smart lights all around the house here, and both of these do a really great job of controlling those. Hey Google, turn off living room.
You got it. Turning off 4 things.
Hey Google, turn on living room.
Okay, turning 4 things on.
Most of my home automation stuff is all being run on SmartThings, and we've been pretty happy with that over the last little bit. So that's a little overview of the Google Home versus the Google Home Mini. Thanks for watching. I'll try and get some more videos posted soon of some of the stuff that I'm doing with SmartThings and the home automation integration to control the lights and the TV here. Thanks.